I thought I was just shy growing up. I had no friends in school, I had no social life, and I had the worst anxiety when I was talking to people. And it wasn't until I was 22 years old that I realized it wasn't shyness, but it was severe social anxiety. So if you think you are shy or may have social anxiety, here are some key differences that you can look for so you don't end up like me. Shyness and social anxiety look very similar on the surface, but underneath they are totally different. With shyness, you are able to talk to people, you're able to go into social situations, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but you're able to get through it. So it doesn't affect the quality of your life, you're still able to do everything that you want to do. And the key difference when you get into social anxiety is it starts affecting the quality of your life. You start avoiding situations that a normal, healthy person wouldn't avoid. With social anxiety, you are in your head constantly, overthinking your social interactions, what you want to say, and you are not present in conversations. Instead of listening to what the other person has to say, you are focused on how you perceive yourself to the other person. You're focused on your facial expressions, the sound of your voice, if you're stuttering, your eye contact, and it makes you come off as very awkward even if you are trying hard not to. And here's what I didn't understand for years. It wasn't that I was awkward, it wasn't that I had bad social skills. I just had this mental barrier of social anxiety that was filtering everything that I had to say, and it prevented me from being my authentic self. So with social anxiety, the symptoms can vary from mild to extremely severe. Everybody has some level of social anxiety. It's pretty normal. This can be doing a public presentation, going out to a social event and meeting new people. You get a little bit nervous, but you are able to still do the thing, and it's not preventing you from living the life that you actually want. It becomes a problem when it starts to affect your quality of life and you start avoiding situations that a normal, healthy person would normally do. So this can be going on dates, this can be meeting new people, going to social events, taking more responsibilities at work, like managing a team. This can easily go under the radar and you might not even notice it. And slowly it's going to start limiting your opportunities in life and you're not going to be living up to your full potential. So with high severity, which is where I was at, it's a huge life limitation. You are constantly in your head all the time, overanalyzing and overthinking social situations. Instead of focusing on the other person in a conversation, you are focused on yourself. You're focused on things like your facial expressions, the way your mouth looks, the sound of your voice, making sure that you don't stutter, your eye contact, and you're not present in the conversation. I had a very hard time making friends, putting myself out there because I was terrified of rejection and I was terrified of opening up to other people and actually getting help. And this can come with physical symptoms. You can have an elevated heart rate, you can feel sick to your stomach, you can be shaking, you can have panic attacks. I luckily never had a panic attack, but it is pretty common. Now with extreme social anxiety, I've personally never experienced this, but I have heard that people can be afraid to leave their house, afraid to talk to anybody, afraid of going to the grocery store, getting groceries, afraid of going to a restaurant and ordering food, and they just have panic attacks all the time. This sounds horrible, and I can see how you can not even be able to work a job if it's this severe, and you absolutely need to go to a therapist and get help, and most likely need medication to start recovering from this. So if you do have social anxiety and you want to recover, this is the number one thing I would recommend. With social anxiety, it is very good at keeping you from talking to people and actually opening up, but that is exactly what you should do. It's very hard and it can feel very embarrassing to open up about this because it seems like a normal thing that everybody is able to do, talk to people. But if you start opening up to people, it starts to lower this embarrassment, this thing that you've been hiding from everybody, and it gets you into this open communication loop where you start getting more and more used to talking about how you feel, and it gets easier and easier to talk to people and open up. And this is going to help you with making more friends, and it's going to lower that nervousness and anxiety level a little bit. Another thing I 100% recommend if you do have social anxiety is find a therapist, and not just any therapist. I would find a talk therapist that specializes in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And what this is going to do is it's going to rewire your brain. So right now with social anxiety, your brain is jumping to conclusions whenever you hear something that is scary to you, like talking to a new person, going to a social event, going on a date. Your brain is jumping to a conclusion of, nope, that's scary, I don't want to do that. It doesn't even think about it. And with CBT, you start to dive into exactly what you are scared of, and you start to logically think through why you are actually afraid of that thing. And most of the time, it's just a hardwired response. It's actually not real. So doing this consistently over weeks, months, you start to rewire that part of your brain, and you don't jump to conclusions as much anymore. So I used to be very afraid of going to social events, talking to new people, going on dates, and because I was jumping to conclusions. And once I started doing this, initially I would jump to a conclusion, but then I would be like, hold on, wait. Let me actually think about that. Like, why am I actually so scared? And what do I think is actually going to happen if I do this? And then I think, okay, that's actually not so bad. I think I can do this. And it helps me get through it. If you are watching this and this sounds like you, then please know that you're not broken, you're not unfixable. I thought my life was over. And the minute I started getting therapy and getting help for it, I realized that this is actually fixable. Like, I can actually overcome this, and it just changed everything in my life. Now I don't even think about social anxiety anymore. I am very socially confident, and it's just a bad memory now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.